Okay. On our syllabus, you guys, assignment schedule, whatever. Today what we're going to do is we'll do that second problem and just go over it, count through it. Having an hour is nice, because you could do one of these problems in 15 minutes and think about, I mean, if you know what you're doing, you just practice it. But I'll give you the hour to do your quiz, do one very similar to these, right? And then on the test, I guess it'll probably be 1/4 of the test, maybe, something like that. We do 4 chapters of the test. I can't remember, but whatever. So it'll be about 1/4 of the test, maybe. So what's that? 15 minutes? Should be able to do it by then. And then on the final, you'll have more time than that, right? And almost as many points, and you'll have more time. So I give you the final is like 2 exams, about 2 hours worth. If you're just really cranking, and you got 3 hours to do it. So it'll be all right, right? But of course, it's a lot of material. It's all 14 chapters. It's going to be comprehensive. And by the way, on the final, they're always late. It's terrible. I should yell at them or something too. Lock the door. I had a guy, did I tell you about that? I was at Central Washington University, and before I went to get my PhD, I was teaching. And so I took a calculus class. I'd done 1 year earlier, and so I was doing a calculus class to get ready for going to do my PhD program, which ended up I didn't really need the class, but I did it. And so I signed up for this class and watched the old guy. He would lock the door so you could not come in if you were late. I'd come running across campus, so they had a class right before it. I'd run across campus, and there'd be students sitting on the steps outside this building where he was at, and I just turn around and go back to my office. And he's no way in the world would ever lock a student out of the class. I can't imagine. You pay your money, you just be able to get in the door. I mean, you could be quieter than you guys were. A lot of it. But if you have to go to a meeting late, what do? Keep it late. Tell your boss, I'm going to be late and why, apologize that you were, all that. None of you guys ever. Aren't you going to apologize to the rest of us? Come on, say you're sorry. You've done it over and over all semester.
What in the shuttle driver?
If you walk, you could make.
It takes longer.
It does not.
It does.
Nobody walks that slow to not beat one of those shuttles.
No, the shuttle always
I
passes.
leave at the same time the shuttle does from the R lot, and I walk down over the edge of the hill and up here, and I see the shuttle at the top of the hill starting down, right? And I'm walking into the building here. Come on. Sometimes they actually catch me, right? And today they did, because I don't know when he left, right? But a shuttle came by and he asked me if I wanted to ride as I was crossing the crosswalk. I gave it a rub. Come on. Anyway, so you know what's funny in that math class too? He would give you prizes if you got the high score on a quiz, and I didn't realize this. So in the first quiz, I got a bunch of my students in there, the principles of accounting. Imagine this, and I'm sitting in there, right? And it's 30 years ago, right? Yeah. So, anyway, and so I'm sitting in there, and they all hate me anyway, because I've always been the same as I am. And anyway, obnoxious. They hate to work too hard. So he walks up to me and he hands me a pencil and announces to the class that I had the high score in the class. From then on, I intentionally missed a question or two, right? Because I didn't want to get another pencil with my students sitting there, thinking that I'm a ringer in the class and I'll get the only A, and that's what you think, right? Professor sitting in there, I wouldn't even take it for a grade, of course. But anyway, so this kind of thing. So what we're doing, guys, is today, for those of you who just got here, we're going to do the second problem that I handed out to you. We'll work through that fairly quickly. Well, we'll take the hour. But make sure you got it down, okay? And we rushed through some things last time, which is always the case. We'll be able to take a little more time with that. Then we'll just explain how to do the statement, of course. Anyway, then we've got another day, Friday, where we're covering Appendix E in Chapter 12. When I design a syllabus, I like to have a little bit of room at the end for you to breathe over. So this will be nice. Be here, right? And we will go through all that stuff again, whatever you want to go over, right? Maybe pick some problems. You guys can pick some problems if you'd like to work from Appendix E and ask some questions about doing cash flows. Okay, and then we've got a review session. Anybody going to the review session Friday? Oh, darn it. Okay, anyway, keep hoping I won't have to do one. Anyway, 3 to 5, 3 to 4, whenever we're done. Okay, so you can ask some more questions then if you want. Okay, Friday the 8th. This is Friday. Okay, and then on Monday, April 11th, we have the chapter 12 and appendix E quiz, as usual. And then on Wednesday and Friday of next week, we're going to be analyzing financial statements, chapter 13. There will not be a quiz on that. And then we got a review for the test on April 18th, and a study session for the test from 3 to 5, the 18th, which is that Monday, following Monday. Wednesday, it looks like there's the test, okay? Notice that chapter 13 is on the test. No quiz on it, but it is on the test. And I'll tell you which ratios I want you to know, which is almost all of them, but I'll still tell you. Okay, and then on Friday, we're going to have a review for the final. And I did arrange a couple of study sessions, I guess. I thought I had, but I've got a couple of study sessions, one on Friday, and then the following Monday, we got a review for the final and an optional study session. You want to make it to those study sessions. What we're going to do is, between classes and study sessions, we're going to go through all 3 exams, and maybe quizzes, and maybe the practice exams, whatever you guys want to work, okay? So we'll really get this stuff solved. I think it's extremely nice of me. I learned a long time ago that students really just study for finals the last week of classes anyway, right? And they study for their other classes and stuff. So I give you a week. I think it's hilarious. We have a study day. Stupid is that? One day's enough to study. That's a day to go drinking, isn't it? You know what that day is for? You know, to take a day off to drink before finals start? I hope not. No, that's what students do. I know. So that's what all the seniors do because they're 21. Yeah. You guys wouldn't do that because it's illegal. Okay, anyway. Dumb laws. I've always felt that you are old enough to die for your country, to vote. You gotta actually be able to have a drink if you want to. You're old enough to drive a car. That's pretty dangerous, right? We let 16-year-olds do that. Still is. I remember what I did when I was 16. Sitting in my dad's car. Yeah. Anyway, he didn't know how to drive fast like I did. Yeah, that's right. Anyway, I never did anything. I do it. So anyway, we got a review then, looks like on Wednesday, and we're done. Okay, so, oh, you can take the final? Any of these times that I got down here? You can't, you cannot do it Thursday, study day. You cannot do it Friday, the first day of finals week. However, because I want you to study that weekend. You can do it Wednesday, looks like, and Monday. I've got one class Monday. That's you guys' class, I guess. Monday, 11:30 to 2:30 of finals week. But I would suggest you wait till Wednesday. I got Wednesday one from 8 to 11, and another one Wednesday 11:30 to 2:30. I'd do it later instead of earlier. Here's the deal. If you've got 2 finals in a day, try to move one of them. And this is the way you can do it. You can take mine any of those times. Huh? Got the idea? And if you have 3 on a day, refuse. Talk to your professor to get somebody to move it. That's crazy. You do 3 finals in one day. And mine's going to take the full 3 hours anyway, right? You'll take the time. So, you know, unless you have one where it's 15 minutes and you show up and have a donut or something. I understand there's some things like that going on. Okay, so let's do this problem, huh? What do you do first? Write down the company name. That'd be a really good idea. Who are these guys? Foxborough, you spell it out, of course. Company, you spell it out, of course. Right? Okay. You don't just say Co. You don't abbreviate ever because some companies' names might be Fox Co. Right? So if it's Foxborough Company, you write it out. Same with corp or corporation. You got to write it out. Some companies' legal name is Corp. Believe it or not. Okay. You name yourself whatever you want. Then what do? Mind you guys. Cash flow. And or statement cash flow or cash flow statement. Either one. Then what? 4 year end. And you put the date, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be December 31st, right, guys? It could be any day of the year they want to have for their year end. You establish your end and leave it there for us. Okay, and this is year 2, I guess. Whatever that means. Okay, then the 3 sections. First one is, they're upside down. Operations. It's one of the last things you do, but we write it down first. Then we'll go down half the page and write down investing. I'm putting it side by side so I have some room here. Okay, and then we go down to about 3/4 of the page, right? We have finance. All right. And then we go down to the bottom and we have increase or decrease in cash, which is going to be these three added up, right? Because we are going to put down the change in every single balance sheet account except for cash, add them all up and it'll total the change in cash. That's because debits equal credits, the balance sheet balances, you know, debits equal credits. Okay, guys, so what's the change in cash? Take a look at cash there. Went down by 8, okay? So decrease in cash, I'd write down decrease in cash. I think I'd put brackets around it, seeing as it's less. What do you guys think? Okay, and then go ahead and write down beginning cash. How much was that? 19. Ending cash. Hard to believe you make money for just knowing this stuff, but you do. Do you really know how to read financial statements? You go to work. When you go to work and you are not an accounting or finance major, your boss is going to be impressed. You mean you know something you learned in accounting 101? Really? They're going to be impressed with that. And you're going to be far more useful, right? We won't have to teach you principles of accounting when you start working. You don't want to learn it again. You want to keep it, right? So, anyway, so good. Now what? Oh, by the way, how many points do you think you have already on the test? Maybe 5? For doing that? Really? Everybody's going to get those points, aren't you? So, what do we do next? Here's the deal. I can care less which account to start with. Which account have I already done? Cash, put a check mark next to cash. Got it? Okay, then what? I wasted some space.
You could do net income, or you could do,
You start with net income, or what accounts could you start with? Pick some accounts for me. What accounts could you start with?
you could do changing current assets, so
You could do changes in the current assets, changes in the current liabilities. You know what? I might do those first. You know why? If I run out of time, I'd have points. You want to start with those? The other class we just went through in the order they're here. Who cares? Can you put net income down first if you want? Sure, but realize you're doing what account when you do that? Retained earnings. So be sure and do the dividends too, right? Because otherwise you might forget and not do them, or you might put the change in retained earnings down and dividends and net income, and of course it will add up. Okay? So yeah, you have some discipline here. Oh, by the way, this isn't a balance sheet and income statement, is it? Look at that thing. I thought accumulated depreciation of the credit balances is a contra asset. Well, it is. So you better do that when you're doing property, plant, equipment, right? But otherwise, so what, right? Okay, we don't care how they lay this out. I actually use problems sometimes where I just give you the change in the account, and I have students say, oh my gosh, you changed everything. Are you kidding me? If I gave you the change, I did the subtraction for you. That makes it easier, not harder, right?
Yeah, then you just got to put it in.
Yeah, you just write it down, okay? So think when you're doing these, okay? All right, don't memorize how to do it, I guess. So, you know, down at the bottom too, it has, it says equipment that cost $30,000, on which there was accumulated depreciation of 10 was sold for 26. What accounts are we working on there? You know, equipment, plant and equipment, accumulated depreciation is probably accumulated depreciation. Probably relates to what? Let's see, cost 30, at 10 of accumulated depreciation, what was the book value? 20. What'd you sell it for? 26. What happened to you? Gain of 6. Where would you expect to see that? How about in the income statement? Look at the income statement up there at the top. Look at it. It's a miracle. Gain on sale of equipment 6. Of course it's going to be there, right? Got it? What if I don't give you an income statement? I don't care. There's still going to be a gain on it. I know it's a gain, right? In fact, I could write down the journal entry for that if I wanted, couldn't I? I looked at it. I could write down the journal entry. What's the journal entry for that? What'd they get? Come on, you guys. What'd they get? Anybody?
Where are we? I lost them.
I was just looking at the equipment journal entry. We were looking at the equipment transaction. We just said equipment that cost 30. Accumulated depreciation of 10 was sold for 26. So you guys agreed that, well, somebody did, that we had a 6 gain. What's the journal entry to record that transaction? You know, if it crossed your mind while you're looking at it, you could go ahead and do it, right? While you're reading the problem, big deal. Okay, why come back to it? Debit cash, how much?
26.
Yeah. What else? What's the entry? Come on, you guys.
26, and you'd, accumulated depreciation would be an entry, and that would be a credit.
Credit? I got rid of it.
Sorry, debit, what was it?
Debit. For what?
10.
10, okay. What else happened?
A credit for the cost. And then
Yeah,
gain,
plant and equipment, I guess, huh? Was the cost, which was 30?
30, and then you have a gain of 6.
Yeah.
So it would be a credit.
So if you wanted, you could write that down. Also, if you wanted, you could go ahead and do those two accounts. I don't care, right? Well, you started working on them. Well, let's come back to it, huh? But if I read that and I thought, oh, that's what that journal entry is, good, that's fine, right? Doesn't matter when you do stuff. So we know that's what it is, right? Don't read something and think about it and then go do something else and then come back after read it and think about it again. I don't want you to work for me if you do that. I'm going to bill you out at $100 an hour and you're going to do things 3 or 4 times to get it once. Please don't do that. Do it once. Move on to something else. Pretty soon I can bill you out at $200 an hour. Got the idea? Because when you look at something, you know what's going on and you do it. Okay? If it takes you 3 times and you keep taking it 3 times, I'm going to get rid of you. The world's like that. Because somebody else is just like you, making the same amount of money you do, and they do it 3 times as fast. And just as accurate. Don't be too careful, right? But be careful. It's weird, isn't it? You want to work as fast as you possibly can without screwing everything up. What if you make a mistake every once in a while? Seeing as debits equal credits. So what? You find them. If I make a mistake doing this statement, I'm going to know when I get done. How am I going to know? It's not going to total to 8,000 negative. That's it. I can relax while I do this. I can work really fast, right? Well, I'll find it. I can't avoid finding it. It'd be an amazing coincidence if it came up -8 and I screwed up a couple things, right? It can happen, right? Probabilistically, but not likely, okay? You have to make errors that offset. All right. So, where'd you get? You said you want to start with current assets and current liabilities?
Yeah.
And by the way, you wouldn't be talking about this, you'd just be doing it. So what do we want to leave room for net income, maybe, and gains and losses and stuff like that? So let's go down a ways. So let's do changes in current assets and changes in current liabilities. What are the current assets?
Accounts receivable.
Yeah, because we already checked off cash, right? So accounts receivable, go up or down? Increase in accounts receivable means what? I did not collect a bunch of cash, right? I have less cash. You can just pretend you bought it with cash. Debit accounts receivable, credit cash. That's not true, of course, but you can think of it that way. 70,000, you guys like that?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Done with that one. Check it. And why are we only showing the change? Because there's millions of transactions, millions of debits and credits, and we don't want to write it all down, right? When are we going to write down both the increases and decreases? Current assets and current liabilities, I'll show the changes. When will I write down both the increases and decreases? When I'm doing investing and financing. By the way, what goes under operations? Net income and any non-cash items on the income statement and changes in the current assets and current liabilities. Because I have the current assets and current liabilities to run my operations, right? Why do you have accounts receivable? Because you have to get the sales. Why do you have inventory? Because you have to get the sales. Why do you have prepaids? Because you have to get the insurance coverage or whatever it is.
Wouldn't that be in brackets?
Yeah.
Oh! Good for you. You know, I did that with the other class and nobody said a word. And then I asked how many people noticed it, and there were 3 or 4. Good for you. I want you to work for me. Why?
I'm not an accounting major, so no.
Better yet, yeah. Probably know something, something useful. Okay, but why would I want her to work for me? Because when I make a mistake, she tells me. It's called courage. I want people who, and then by the way, what if she was wrong? I'd make fun of you. Say, no, I'm right, you're wrong, haha. You know, so what? And then you'd learn, wouldn't you? And that's perfect. Always have the guts. Right? You know, whatever environment you're in, go for it. I like that. Good for you. If she doesn't want it for me, let me just point that out to you. Yeah. Just because I want you to work for me doesn't mean you want to do. I'm really fun to work for. You know why people like working for me? Because we get a lot done. And I always ask for big raises for them. Because we get a lot done. So I pressure them, push them. We just get all kinds of stuff done. And then they get bonuses, you know, promotions, all that stuff. You know what really is a fun way to go if you're a manager? is to get people to know how to do everything you do, and then you get to do something else because they take it over. I'd love to show the people how to do stuff. I did it long before I started teaching. Show you how to do something, you can do it now, I can move on. Right? Perfect. And I can justify you get the pay I got, and I can justify I get more. It's nice, huh? Real progress there. What's the next one? Inventory? Is that a current asset? More or less? More. How much?
48,000.
You want to put brackets around that too?
Yeah.
Yeah. Debit inventory, credit cash, we retend everything as for cash. Good. Is there another current asset?
Yeah.
Yeah. Prepaid? Less?
Yes.
How much?
9,000.
Now, did I sell them for cash? No, but I didn't replace them. I used them up. I have an expense on my income statement to reduce my net income, but I have more cash, right, than my income implies because I use it for prepaid instead of using cash. Got it? Okay, so yeah. So if I have less prepaid, pretend you bought it, sold it for cash. So you can check that one too. So I'm moving, huh? You want to do the current liabilities too? You said you want to do the current stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? These are easy. What happened to, what is the current liability here? Accumulated depreciation? No. It's contra asset, right?
Accounts payable.
Accounts payable is though. What do you got?
Uh,
Increase?
yeah, increase, 15,000.
50. So you want to put brackets around that?
No.
I don't think so. I think I didn't pay my bills. So liabilities are exactly the opposite of assets, right? If I have more of a current asset, I bought it with cash. If I have more of a liability, I borrowed cash. Got it? Okay, that's it. And then is there another current liability?
Increase liabilities.
And discipline yourself to put a check mark next to the ones you've done. This is going to go, it looks like it goes crazy on you. You just do one thing at a time, right? One line, one line, one line. Get done with that one line on the balance sheet, right? One account. And put a check mark next to it and don't go back again, right? Do the whole thing, put a check mark next to it, don't go back. It'll keep you from screwing up, I think, and it helps. So it went down. What did they pay it with? Cash, of course. How much do you do that by?
80,000.
Want to put brackets around it, seeing as it's debit, accrued liabilities, various times, salary payable, rent payable, whatever, and credit, cash? Yeah, sure. So you can do that now. Well, now things get harder, I guess. What do you want to do next? I still don't care.
You already did your gain on sale, so you can.
I got the gain on sale over here, so I can do that. You want to do that first? Or you can do the net income first. Do we care? Not in the least. If I do net income first, what account am I working on?
You're working on
Retained earnings.
And you can do
If I want to use this gain first, what am I working on? Property, plant, and equipment, and property, plant, and equipment, and accumulated depreciation. So let's do this first. We'll come back to do the income. That all right with you?
Yeah.
Who cares? So relax. What if you're like, oh my gosh, I don't remember how to do one piece of it? Do everything else, and it'll fall out. When you get to the account, it'll remind you to do something with the account, huh? Okay, so what do we want to do? We're doing what accounts? Plant and equipment?
Yeah.
And?
Accumulated depreciation.
Yeah, you got to know they go together, but you guys know that, right? What do we know about those? Beginning and ending? Got that right?
Yes.
What is it, 500 and 620 for plant and equipment? What's the minimum amount of equipment, plant and equipment you bought? 120.
Yeah.
Might you have bought more than that?
Yeah.
Well, of course, we know we bought more than that. What did we just do? We credited plant and equipment with that journal entry, didn't we? We know that that happened during the year, right? Because they sold it. So you know what? That makes it 470, and somehow it got up to 620. What do you think they bought? You know, if the account went up by 120 and they sold 30, what did they buy? 150? Don't you think so? Everybody agree with that one? What would that journal entry be? How about debit, plant, and equipment? For how much? 150. And credit what for 150? Yeah, we pretend everything was for cash. In real life, it won't be. That might be mortgage payable or something. And if it is, we'd probably go to the bottom of the statement and say non-cash transactions, right? So you'll see them down there. In our case, we don't know if they paid cash or not, so we'll assume they did, okay? So it's really a little more complex. But you show all the non-cash items at the bottom of the statement, so big deal, right? All right, anyway, so that's 150.
And then, well, let's do the rest of our journal entry. What is it? Debit accumulated depreciation there? Right? What do you know? So there's 20 change. Everybody agree with that? That's a 20 change. In property, plant, and equipment less accumulated depreciation. It's a net credit, isn't it? 20 credit to plant and equipment and a debit of 10 to accumulated depreciation. That's a net credit of 20. Okay? Everybody agree? Okay. All right. And then what was our beginning accumulated depreciation? 130? Yeah. What was ending?
165.
What's the minimum amount depreciation expense must have been?
45.
Looks like 35, right? But it was 45, wasn't it?
Yeah.
If we didn't have the 10 debit, it increased by 35. It's got to be 35. But if we debit it for 10, how much must it have been? Right, it's 45, of course. What would that journal entry have been? See, it's kind of nice to know the entries, huh? Because now you know what to put in your cash flow statement. Okay? What would that be? Credit accumulated depreciation, right?
Yeah.
What would you debit when you credit accumulated depreciation? Anybody?
Depreciation.
Depreciation expense, of course. Okay, you already know that. Okay, we got it made, don't we? Okay, let's put those things on the cash flow statement. What do you want to do? Let's do this easy first one, huh? What's that? Okay, this is plant and equipment. Is that operations, investing, or financing? You always have to ask yourself that, don't you? Investing. Okay. Right. By the way, why were the current assets and current liabilities under operations? That's why you have them. You have inventories, you can sell your customer's product. You have accounts receivable because you want to sell them more. Right, guys? You have accounts payable because you can't. You have prepaids because you have to pay for written advance or insurance in advance, right? They're to run your operations, aren't they? You have the accrued liabilities because you can. You can pay your employees later. You can pay your interest later, whatever it is, right? Okay, and interest-free, you like it, okay? All right, so what do we do with that? Where does it go? Buying and selling other non-current assets is investing. So what would this be? Purchase of plant and equipment? It didn't tell us which it was, so I guess we assume it's one or the other or both. Is that a debit or a credit? All you're going to do is ask yourself what happened to cash. It's a credit to cash, you guys. We have less, don't we? Everybody got it? A dollar sign on this, so it looks pretty. Okay, then what? Let's do this next entry here. What happened there? That's a 20 change, isn't it? That's the debit to accumulated depreciation less the plant and equipment. How much cash did we get? 26. Where do you want to put the cash? I sold a non-current asset, gang. Where do you want to put it? Yeah, and you're investing. And notice under investing and financing, we show both the increase and decrease because they're big, not very many transactions, but huge transactions, huh? So what would that be? Sale? No kidding. Yeah, that's what it is. Let's write down what it is. Sale of equipment. Okay, I wouldn't say plant equipment probably because they told me it was equipment. I know what it was, right? Okay, how much is that? Good. Don't just show the change. Show both. Okay? Increase and decrease. Did that one. Now what? Oh, I got to do something with the gain on sale because that's 26 and I'm explaining you change to 20. Excellent. So the gain is on the income statement, isn't it? So the net income I'm going to write up here, when I get around to writing down net income, which is going to be first, I'm going to need to add back what? Losses, add back depreciation, and subtract gains, right? The reason I'm subtracting the gain isn't that the gain didn't provide any cash. I've got the cash included in that 26 and I don't want to double count it. I don't want it in there in the net income again. Why would I do that? So let's deduct the gain on sale. Like it? This is easy, isn't it? How much is that? 6,000. Do you guys agree that 26 less 6 is 20? We just explained that change, didn't we? This is the hardest thing, probably, huh? Hardest thing to get down. But if you know the entries and you work through it a few times, it won't be bad. If I can get you guys to work a few of these problems, work them until it's just automatic to you, you're going to nail it. And we're talking about, I don't know, 50, 60 points or something. I think a bunch. Okay? For doing one thing, knowing what you do. Okay, so then what? And then forever you'll be able to read one of these statements. Nice. We want. Oh, we got to do the depreciation, huh? We better pick this one up. There's no cash in that. Yeah, but that 45,000 came out of net income, didn't it? and it didn't use any cash. When do you have cash go out for depreciation? You never do, but when do you have cash go out for buying the asset? Maybe the day you buy it, or maybe when you pay off the debt, right? But that activity is going to be over under investing and financing. Financing if you borrowed the money and then repaid it. Investing if you bought the asset. Got the idea? Okay? So what do? We add the depreciation expense. Now you guys don't put down the balance in accumulated depreciation. Look at that. They tried to memorize, didn't they? I'm not adding back to income accumulated depreciation. What? I'm adding back the depreciation expense. Right? That's what I put in the income statement. So how much was the expense? 45. So we have, this is real common in companies. They won't have very much net income, but they'll have a lot of depreciation expense, so they have very positive cash flows. That kind of makes sense. But what do you have to do? When your assets get old, what do you have to do, you guys? Sell them for almost nothing, and then to keep running, what do you have to do? Buy more, and that's real expensive, right? So it's a real cost. A lot of finance people will say, oh, well, depreciation is not a real cost because there's no cash. You don't, and my response to that is, you mean you don't have to replace the assets? Oh, well, yeah, but that's a new investment decision. That's true, but it's still a cost. You'll never convince me that the fact that my house is getting used up, you know, my wife has an old Volvo with 155,000 miles on it. Trust me, it's not like it was when it was new. Boy, does she want a new car back. I mean, it actually rattles now. Terrible having a car that rattles.
We just need to buy our new car already. We hear about this car. Hey, you told us story last semester.
She needs to get a job.
You have one.
She takes care of children.
That's
My grandkids. She just plays with them all day. My daughter's been
she
gone
needs
for a
safe
week.
transportation for your beautiful grandchildren.
It's a Volvo.
But it's rattly, so obviously there's something wrong.
Yeah.
So we gotta get a new car.
Yeah. Don't marry this girl, you guys. You can see it. You can see it coming. You know what? When I was making real money, I would buy her a car every three years or so. We just threw away perfectly good cars. Yeah. So sold them for almost nothing. But she's cute. She looks cute. That's why I drive around in a Miata. Trust me, that rattles. It's 15 years old. Yeah, but anyway, I drive around in it because, not because I look cute in it, it's because she did. She wanted it. She put a picture of it on the refrigerator for 2 years. I'm not kidding. And finally, I just went bought her one. So you're right. Someday I'll do something. But she's just been goofing off for the last 6 years taking care of the grandkids. And I still have to work. What's that about? But anyway, I was going to tell you, my daughter has been down in Orlando. I told you I didn't. I had a 5-star hotel. We stayed for a week with the kids and my son-in-law. Not a lot of fun. Anyway, my wife spent the entire time cleaning house and doing laundry and putting the house back together. Because my daughter works full-time in her basement and has 3 kids. 2 are 5 and 1's 7. Imagine what her life is like. So, yeah, I'm glad I'm a man. And a chauvinist to boot. So, I just play with the grandkids. I don't do anything. Other than this is hard work. I'm working really hard here. Okay, anyway, let's finish this thing so we can. You guys probably want to leave in a while, huh? I'm wasting time because we don't have enough to do today. You hadn't noticed that, have you? So anyway, I want you never to meet my wife because she doesn't need any allies buying cars. So anyway, all right. You guys know how much a new Volvo costs? Holy crap, it's gone crazy. Well, yeah, easy. But even the one that we've got is in the low 40s. That's crazy. We paid $31,000 for it 10 years ago or so. Same car. No inflation though, right, you guys? Have you noticed your tuition's not any higher than it was for your parents because there's been no inflation? Oh, yeah, right. So I paid $800 for my college education. That's because I went to summer school 1 year, so I could graduate early. $800. The rest was grants. I don't mean loans. I mean grants. And then we say that we can't afford to pay for education for our society. How many times do you guys think I have paid for my education? It's all funded by tax dollars, right? And by donations, right? Both. How many times do you think I've paid for my education in my life, in my career? I figured out the year that I made the most money in real dollars, which is right before I started teaching, I paid for my entire education 3 times in my tax bill that year. Was I a good investment? So should we be paying for your education? Hell yes. We're crazy as a society. It's nuts. What's one of the big reasons that we're going, no, we're not going behind, but why other countries are gaining on us so much economically? Because they pay to educate their people, and we do not. That's a huge reason. Stupid. How short-sighted. And how, is some of you guys going to graduate with any debt? No, that's good if you can make it. If you still have good grades and a good education. Don't sacrifice your education to avoid debt. It's okay if you have some debt if you're going to get a really good job and pay for it, right? Not a lot, though. My son graduated with about $100,000 in debt for law school and his master's degree. I paid for undergrad, the whole thing, and everything, right? And supported his son too. And then he borrowed all that money for grad school because he didn't want to work while he went to grad school, and he kicks himself every day for that because he's going to pay for it for 20 years. Should have worked while he went to law school and graduated with $50,000 debt or something, right? It would have been better. And then besides that, he became a deputy prosecutor, so he didn't make any money. And now he's in public defender type work, so he doesn't make any money. Yeah, so anyway, sorry, it's good service to society. And he's got to do something. He was going to retire when he was 50. I just laughed when he told me that. You owe $100,000 in your debt, you're going to retire when you're 50. Sure you are. How long are you guys going to live? 100? Do you really want to retire when you're 50? What do you do for 50 years? Find something you really like to do and do it. You only get to play golf if you get rich. Yeah. Become a pro golfer then. That pays well.
You can always just work on the golf course and do like your career.
Perfect. Yeah. Or you could be a golf bum, right? That'd be good. Okay. Let's do this. God, you guys are wasting a lot of time. Okay, anyway. So, where were we? I guess we did plant and equipment. Are we done with plant and equipment? We wrote the depreciation down, didn't we? I guess we are. You can check plant and equipment and accumulated depreciation now, right? What do we have left to do? Oh. We have the financing stuff to do. We still have loan to Harker. You didn't check that, did you? You want to do that one? It's the only asset left. Oh, no, we were going to do retained earnings second. I skipped. Let's do retained earnings next. Why not? Let's do retained earnings. What do we know about retained earnings? Beginning, end, 90, 120. It went up by 30. Don't write the 30 down, right? Because what do we have? Net income? How much is it?
63.
Yeah. Oh. There's something else happened. That made it 153, and it's 120. What must be 33? Dividend. What if I gave you the net income and not the dividend? Could you do this? Of course.
Yeah.
What if I gave you the dividend and not the net income? Could you do this? Of course. Remember that. You know what? Remember back in the first test 1 through 4, I gave you the beginning and ending balance and either the debit or the credit, asked what the other one was. I didn't ask it that way, but I asked it over and over, didn't I? Or I gave you the beginning balance and the debit and the credit, and you told me the ending. Or maybe sometimes you had to solve the beginning. I love those questions. You're going to see a whole bunch of them on the final. 1/3 of your final is going to be chapters 1 through 4. I'm not kidding. This is cumulative. You guys think you're going to be able to answer questions from chapter 1 through 4 now? Oh, that's a joke, right? I don't mean don't study that stuff. Do the quizzes, right? Do the test. It's going to be a real confidence builder when you start studying those. So, geez, what a joke. How could I ever not know that, right? So, and then it gets worse the second test. And much worse this one probably. But at least this stuff's more recent. Okay, anyway, let's put those on there. When we put both of them on, we'll explain the 30 difference, right? So where do you want to put them? Where does the dividend go? Yeah, because it's a transaction with equity holders, right?
Yeah.
Where's the net income going to go? Under operations. I know it changed retained earnings, and I know that's an equity account, but what's the main thing you get from operations? Revenues and expenses. So it goes under operations. So what do you want to do? Put down under financing what? Dividend paid?
Yeah.
By the way, I know it was paid because there's no dividends payable. None at the beginning, none at the end. It must have been paid, right? Because they debited retained earnings and they credited cash, didn't they? So it's cash going out, $33,000. Good. Now what else we got? Whoops. I guess let's write it down. Okay, what else do we have? Put the net income down. How much was it? 63,000? Okay. Now we explained the retained earnings sum. So what else did we say we had? I guess we had loan to Harker. It starts at nothing and it goes to 40. Now I could have loaned them 100 and then repaid, or they could have paid me back 60, right? But that, and I would have written them both down. But this is just, I have a note receivable from them, right? You can go a note receivable loan too if they want to, I guess. Okay, so what do we want to do with this? It was debit notes receivable credit cash, you guys. So where does it go? This is a non-current asset. If I loan to another company, do you think that's a current asset? Probably not. I probably long term. So it's what?
Wouldn't it be under investing?
Investing. You got it. Under investing, loan to Harker. Loan money to Harker, right? I'd put it down like that. Why not? Okay. Do I have more or less cash? You know, if I debited notes receivable and I credited cash, so I have less. Okay. Done with that one. You check that one off. That was easy. What's next? What do we have left? Bonds payable. You don't have a check mark next to? By the way, could they have issued 200,000 and then it went up by 90? Issued 200 and repaid 110? Sure. And if they did, you'd show both, wouldn't you? Increase and decrease. Where does this go? Financing. It's long-term debt. Absolutely. Okay. So what is this to? It's going to be issue. What? On payable. And really, there'd be a discount or a premium, so you'd have to consider that, right? You know, it's how much cash they cost. Okay, so it's 90. We're keeping these problems relatively simple. Okay. Deferred income taxes. Now that one's kind of different. Deferred income taxes, I said, it's long-term borrowing from the government. You could put it under financing if you wanted, but more likely, where companies put it is up under operations. And let me show you why it goes in operations. What would be the journal entry for the deferred income tax? It went up from 80 to 84, and it's a long-term liability, you guys. What's it going to be? It's a liability. So I credited deferred income tax payable, didn't they? They must have done that. I know they did. Okay? What did they debit? Tax expense. This is taxes I'm going to pay later. Maybe I'm paying less tax because I'm using modified accelerated cost recovery system, makers, for my depreciation on my tax return, and I'm using a straight line on my financial statements, so I have more depreciation on my tax return, less income on my tax return, so I'm going to actually pay less tax than I'm going to have tax expense. I'm going to pay it later. That's deferred income tax payable. So that's going to be tax payable is what I'm going to pay. Well, how much is my tax expense, everybody? Look at your income statement. Less income taxes is what? 27? So what happened? How much did I actually pay? 23. So I would have credited tax payable, currently payable for 23, and then when I pay it, what would I do? Debit tax payable, of course, for 23, and credit what, everybody? Cash. So how much cash went out? 23. What's my tax expense on my income statement? 27. The increase in deferred income tax is cash I didn't pay out, right? Everybody got it? Of course, that's what it is. Okay? So, what they do is they say, increase in deferred income tax payable gave me more cash. Didn't really generate any cash. What happened was I paid less than my tax expense on my income statement, right? Paid out less than my tax expense. That's it. So you can check that one off. What happened to common stock? By the way, could you issue some and also retire some? Could you issue some and then have treasury stock? Sure. And would there be more accounts than just common stock? You know, like additional paid-in capital, treasury stock, all kinds of different things? Yeah, right? This is just simple. So everything's combined into one there, common stock. It went up by 60. What happened? They didn't tell us anything else, so what must have happened? They must have issued common stock. Where does it go? Financing. Absolutely. Major source of our financing is our shareholders, of course. The other one's long-term debt. Okay, and how much was that? 60? Do we have anything else? No, we already did retain earnings, didn't we? Done. Okay, add them up. Always add them up, of course. Let's get the totals here, everybody. And what do we want to call the totals? They actually left a tiny bit of room that time. All right? What do we want to call the totals? How about cash flow from operating activities? Or cash flow from operations? How about cash flow from investing activities or cash flow from investing? okay? And how about cash flow from financing activities? I'm not kidding. That's simple. When we add those up, we should be able to add those three together and get -8, right? Then we'll know we did it right. If you're off, you might try dividing the amount you're off by 2, because you might have failed to put brackets around something you should have, or put brackets around something you shouldn't have, right? Be off double. Do that. Anyway, add them up and subtract. What do you get? I wasted enough time that we're not even leaving very early. Pretty good.
Operations is -24,000.
Really?
I don't know, maybe I did that wrong.
Well, maybe you did it wrong, or maybe I have it written wrong. Do I have something wrong up there? Yes. 3, 4, 5, 7. Did I do something off of it? Oh, I left something off. Increase in accounts payable. No, there it is. I got it. 8, 16. They say 39. Anybody get 39? Got 33. Did you take out the gain on the sale? You got 39? Do I have all the numbers right though? Well, we can make sure. We're gonna make sure. What's this one? What's 150 plus 40 less 26? 190 less 26. The author got 39. Maybe I've got something written down. Oh, you got 39? Okay, good. What's the next one? We'll make sure. Let's do the next one.
Too.
What's this one? The next one, 164?
Yeah.
You guys get that?
Yes.
What's 33,000 netted with 150? 90 plus 60 plus 133, or less 33. That's 117? Is that right?
Yeah.
Then take 39, subtract 164, and add 117. Did you get -8? Yeah, then you know you're right. Okay? So if you add it wrong, you'll still know, huh? Go back and re-add it. Everybody good?
Yes.
Oh, by the way, if it doesn't total out on you, on a quiz, you'll probably have enough time to get it anyway, right? You'll just get it to work out. If it doesn't work on the test, just, draw a line and say, this should be this should total, Anyway, I'm letting you guys leave a minute early too. That's pretty good. 20 seconds at least. Don't turn me on. Don't complain. You can get your money first.
So if I just put this,
Yeah, it would be a little better probably. It's looking good though. Yeah.
is there anything else I could like fix with that?
Look at the example you look at the real estate. What it should look like. There. That's basically it. Looks good to me.